Welcome inside another edition of Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media. CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio-video coverage of your Boston Celtics. Welcome inside a Tuesday edition of Celtics Roundtable, everybody. Evan Valenti alongside Zaire here on this Tuesday. Today's show brought to you in part by Action Heat. Go to action-heat.com/Celtics for 30% off your next purchase, and by DraftKings, DraftKings.com. Use the promo code CLNS at first entry to get a free entry into tonight's $10,000 NBA pool. Again, coming at you on a Tuesday after the Celtics get blown out by the Bulls, 108-85, your final score. Either the worst loss or second worst loss, depending how you want to view the Hayward injury. As before the show started, Zaire was very nice and very smartly pointing out that this was not the worst loss of the season. The Cavs loss significantly worse. But even with that, not a pretty game for the Boston Celtics. Shot the ball horribly. But before we get into this thing, like a lot of people on Twitter, there was this weird section of Celtics Twitter that was kind of hammering over the Celtics losing this game and kind of what that says about Kyrie Irving maybe sitting out with an injury. And I get that, I guess, but like this is a game that Boston has to win. This is a game they should win. They don't need Kyrie Irving to beat the Bulls. This is a game where even without Kyrie, without Hayward, without Morris, they should still find a way to win. This Bulls team is not really that good, Zaire.
I think we need to pump the brakes for a second. First of all,
okay.
It's not a must-win. You've beaten a lot of chumps so far, and every now and then you're going to slip up on a chump. It's just going to happen. Before the game, I was saying in my house, I was like, this is a trap game. This is one of those games you can lose. The fact that you don't have your best player in Kyrie Irving and your best player off the bench as far as scoring consistently in Marcus Morris, it lets you know, well, we didn't roll out everything out there today. We are a little – those are two very important players. First of all, Kyrie Irving what else can you say about him? And a lot goes wrong because no one on this team can fill that role. No one can fill his role. No one can fill Al Horford's role. Jason Tatum has done a great job in helping us not miss Gordon Hayward too much because we don't know what we would have had with Gordon Hayward. We don't even know, And Jaylen Brown has done well for the most part this season. But overall, the people, two people that are very important on this team weren't playing. And the Bulls, they did all they could do tonight. And it happens. It's an 82-game season, But in my opinion, in seeing, Kyrie miss a game and Marcus, still healing and everything, but he probably could have played, But I just see it as a step up because who does this? Pop does it. You got a few other coaches that do it, and the coaches that do these things are the coaches that think, hey, you know what, we're in contention. We got something to play for in the long run. So these aren't your old Celtics. These aren't the Celtics from last year, the year before last, and the year before that had to have everybody out there fighting, scratching, clawing. These aren't those Celtics right now. These Celtics have a different agenda and a different game plan. And think about it, Look at the record. This is a loss. What are they? What is it now?
They are 23-6 now.
Yeah, 23-6. if we're gonna trip on this game right here, then we're gonna have a great season.
Yeah, everybody, relax for a second. A lot of people, I've seen a couple people tweet this out that this might have been a schedule loss. The Celtics schedule this week is going to be brutal. It's their second game on a back-to-back, played in Detroit the night before. It's not a far flight to Chicago, but it's usually better to have that second game at home. Boston, you could tell they just look tired. They look sluggish in this game. The weak legs on John. Look at some of the numbers here. Al Horford shot terribly. He was 0 for 4 from three-point range. He was 6 of 14. Jason Tatum was 1 of 7, 0 for 4 from three-point range. Marcus Smart tried and didn't do too terrible shooting the basketball. For Marcus Smart standards, him and Jaylen Brown both 5 of 12. The bench was basically non-existent. Terry Rozier had a couple of shots, and that was really it off the bench. So you look at an entire team like that. You look at a team like Chicago who's starting to play, like Scal mentioned this on the broadcast. The Bulls been feeling themselves a little bit. They've won now 3 games in a row, starting to kind of click a little bit. But even with that, Boston should have played a little bit better. They lost energy in the fourth quarter. That's not usually what Boston does. They tend to play their best ball in the fourth quarter. Again, not having your clutch go-to fourth quarter scoring Kyrie is a problem. But this is a team that just looks exhausted. And now with the day off, they have a game coming up pretty soon. But with the day off, they can maybe recharge the batteries a little bit. They're going back home. It should be a much better game next time out. And if you're Brad, you kind of mentioned this, Zaire. This is maybe some good tape to show the team that, like, hey, it doesn't matter who's suiting up in a uniform. We still have to execute. We still have to shoot shots. I thought Boston was sloppy with the basketball a lot of the times, too, not taking good shots. So this is, again, file away for later, just in case, Kyrie can't play one night or Al Horford can't play one night. They still have to play with the same intensity.
Well, they were out of sorts. I mean, you got guys in positions that they're not normally in. Marcus Smart isn't usually your starting point guard. Abdur Nader, when he got in the game, I was like, what? Because, I mean, I don't know. Have we ever seen him in a first half ever? So seeing that, it was just like, okay, you know what it is. I mean, a lot of these guys that had the minutes that they had, they just weren't normally in the spots that they're normally in. And so once again, it's just like, look, Jason Tatum finally had a bad shooting game. Like, bad 1 for 7.
It's a miracle.
I mean, he's had some bad shooting games before, but this one tonight was just nothing. He did get 10 rebounds, I believe, which shout out to him for doing something, But and
right.
that's a good sign too when you see, okay, the dude's shot is not falling, but he's still doing something out there. So it's up to, and this is what I was saying before about Jaylen Brown. Now, I do not fault them for losing tonight's game because, once again, it was a lot of people in places that they're not in normally. But Jaylen Brown, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. But when everybody was like super hyped at the beginning of the season, it's like, no, you're going to have up nights, down nights, up nights, down nights, and whatever. And this may be not the cool thing to say right now. This guy lost his friend. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's still trying to get himself together, which may be true. And who am I to tell anybody how to mourn a loss? But typically with athletes, they always say that the court is their sanctuary where they can get away from that. And, with him,
I'm not, what, Zaire, you're just trying to, Jaylen Brown was not one of the worst players in this game, far from it. He's not one of the guys that shot really well, 5 of 12, 3 of 7 from three-point range. You can't really see right now. Abby Chin talked about it. He ditched the goggles in the middle of the game, and I didn't wear contacts, so I'm not sure how he saw anything out there. Still, again, you talk about Tatum getting rebounds after a bad shooting night. Well, it wasn't nearly as bad of a shooting night for Jaylen Brown. Still grabbed 8 rebounds and had 13 points. I mean, he was arguably probably the best starter they had in that Bulls game.
No, Al Horford was the best starter they had because he was doing what Al Horford normally does. He's fighting people for shots, and I can't even complain about Al Horford totally. I mean, yeah, he could have played better. Everybody could have played better. But once again, everything wasn't in sync, and so I get that. But, and people are saying Jaylen Brown has an eye injury, so that matters. I'm just saying that there is an up and down factor with him, and that's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's an up and down factor with him. It's not even to criticize his game. It's just to say for those who expect more or who expected more at the beginning of the season, because it was a lot of people that was very hype. It's like, the guy is what he is right now, and he's not a bad basketball player. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he's all right, because if he was really crushing it, he'd be crushing it on nights like tonight when it's like, okay, Kyrie ain't playing, I'm going for 25, 30. But it didn't happen.
Yeah. Nobody in the Celtics went for 29, 30.
Nobody.
25 or 30.
Nobody.
Just because, again, I think it's just a tough schedule loss. I don't think either. This is a show made for hot takes, and Zaire and I are pretty mellow about this whole thing. But look, it's going to happen throughout as Zaire, eloquently put. It is a 82-game season. It's going to take, every once in a while there's going to be a loss you really can't explain. You kind of throw it away a little bit. Again, Brad being the master motivator, will find a way to use this and to, again, motivate his team later on down the road. But again, this is take the game, take the tape, throw it away, move on to the next game, and get ready to rock and roll, because again, it's not a big layoff. We do want to get to one more topic, but before we do, I want to make sure you guys know this episode is sponsored by Action Heat. Action Heat makes the world's best heated clothing. That's right, folks. Heatable, clothing powered by rechargeable batteries. Action Heat is the perfect solution to keeping you toasty and warm even in the most frigid winter weather, which is coming our way. It's going to be pretty cold apparently on Wednesday. Not looking forward to that at all whatsoever as the winter weather and months pile up here. But Action Heat, since I have some, I'm going to be good to go. Action Heat clothing provides toasty warmth and comfort for the entire body, including heated jackets, socks, gloves, hats, and even undergarments like long johns, which must be the best feeling of all time. You can stay warm and cozy from head to toe with Action Heat. Just get a couple of things. Action Heat clothing is engineered to safely and effectively deliver heat via heating panels, similar to a heated car seat. So basically that entire sensation on your entire body. They can reach temperatures up to 135 degrees and are powered by rechargeable low voltage lithium-ion batteries that last up to 12 hours on each charge. You can even recharge your phone and other gadgets with your Action Heat batteries. That's absolutely nuts. As Sam Sheehan also put it so well, I want to be tweeting online while I ski and I hike out in the winter just for funsies. Perfect for a friend or a family or your holiday gift list. Available in men's and women's styles as well. Heated products that fit everybody's budget, starting at just $39.99. And make sure you go there today. I have mine. Again, skiing has happened. It was such a good ski session, the first real legit ski session of the year. I've done some hiking with it on too because we didn't have any snow. I decided to go outside anyway. It is the perfect thing for these winter months. You're going to want to get yours today. Go to action-heat.com/Celtics for 15% off your entire purchase. And before we keep going, make sure, folks, Hoops fans, you listen up because basketball season is back. And now that your favorite hardwood heroes have returned to action, it is time for you to put your fantasy knowledge to the test to win huge cash prizes every single night by playing one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. So many different ways to play, any way you want. Beginners, experts, big cash payouts, not so big cash payouts, single entry, multiple entry, anything you could possibly want, you can find on DraftKings.com. And the best thing is you can win money. Second best thing, by drafting a new team every single day. Just Dan from St. Louis, Jeremy from Austin. Both those guys turned $3 into $1,000. Use the CLNS code at DraftKings.com to play for free. Again, that's the code CLNS to play for free tonight. A $10,000 pool at first deposit. You're going to go to DraftKings.com and use the promo code Celtics at first deposit to get an entry tonight. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Evan Valenti alongside Zaire here on a Tuesday with the Tuesday Tirade Show. And there was an interesting tweet thrown out by a friend of ours, friend of the program, Coach Nick, a B-Ball Breakdown, of course, on CLNS Media as well. And he threw something out there that I thought was interesting. It was about ARON Baines. And ARON Baines had a really great game against Detroit on Sunday night. Not so great against the Bulls on Monday. But he threw the idea out there that suggested if the Celtics are somehow able to knock off the Cavs in the playoffs, ARON Baines will be the X factor in that game. I disagree with that, Zaire. Do you?
Yeah, that's a good prediction that he can make, because I would say this is that the Cavs have beaten up on the Celtics in the post. We know this ever since the first time they made the playoffs for the most part. Just having better bigs and having guys that are alongside LeBron James. And when you play alongside a player like that, you play differently. Just like, I mean, look tonight, when the Celtics played with Kyrie Irving, they played differently with a different kind of confidence as well as execution. But, you know, ARON Baines, in my opinion, yeah, he will matter in this series. You know, if they should happen to play Cleveland in the playoffs, he will do the things that Kelly Olynyk wouldn't do. He would do the things that, you know, Tyler Zeller in the past, or, you know, Amir Johnson, you know, so much just wouldn't do because of his girth and because of how he plays. So he will matter. Whether he will win the series or not, I don't know. You know, I don't know. I think that, you know, Kyrie's efficiency matters a whole lot more. Al Horford's ability to still be Al Horford will matter a whole lot more. Marcus Smart showing up and not just jacking up questionable shots or missing open shots will matter a whole lot more. I think Marcus Morris will matter a whole lot more. As much as people kind of dismiss his talent, I think he will matter a lot, especially with that second unit, especially with that, just that attitude, being able to come in the game and do different things and just be the unknown at times, So yeah, Aron Baines is a part of the puzzle, and I will say he's an important part of the puzzle for playoff basketball, because playoff basketball is a bit more physical. It slows down. So yeah, I think he'll matter, but X factor, that's a little much.
I think you're being a little more generous than I would be. I think Aron Baines is purely like a matchup guy, where like maybe against Cleveland. So in order to make a good matchup against Cleveland, like that's a good point, because Tristan Thompson usually gobbles up rebounds when he plays. He's been hurt for this pretty much the entire season. Kevin Love gives them a problem on the offensive glass, and because he's so good at that second jump, he's able to get a lot of easy tip-ins or kickouts to LeBron, where they reset the offense and Boston gets caught out of position and they get smoked. So in that regard, yes, I get that. He's going to keep guys off the boards. In terms of defensively, like I'm not sure how he helps out if they go small. If they go with Kevin Love at the 5, I don't think Aron Baines is really playable, because then he's getting stretched out to the perimeter, and Kevin Love versus Aron Baines on the perimeter is not a good idea. If it's going to be Tristan Thompson and you want to match him up with Tristan Thompson to keep him out of the paint, by all means do so. But I think it's a very specific niche that I don't think Cleveland's going to want to play that way at the end of the year in the playoffs. I think they'll want to go with the 5 of Kevin Love, LeBron, and more shooters. J.R. Smith, Isaiah Thomas. They could put Dwayne Wade out there. They could put Jay Crowder out there. Whatever they'll want to do in the fourth quarter. I just don't think Tristan Thompson's going to be a part of that. And I don't think you can put Aron Baines in there. Like, not being said, like Aron Baines is going to have times in the playoffs where he's truly needed. They need a guy like in that game against Detroit, and I hate using this all the time, but the reason why a guy like Aron Baines is great against Detroit is because you can move Al Horford kind of off him, and you don't, because Drummond is so big and so physical and so strong, he's too big for Al Horford to really guard. Aron Baines can stand up to him, push him out of the paint, make him go to work further away from the basket than he wants to, and Andre Drummond is uncomfortable doing that. Sometimes against LaMarcus Aldridge you can do that, but Aldridge is a lot quicker for a guy that size than Drummond is, and Aldridge is a little bit too strong for Al Horford, so that's kind of a problem for Boston anyway, but that's in the Western Conference. But Aron Baines is a good player. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He gives this team a need, but it's a very specific niche, Zaire.
It's really tough, like to predict what's going to happen when the playoffs start. We don't know what Cleveland will look like, and everybody wants to just automatically put them in the finals or in the Eastern Conference Finals, especially. And we just don't know what they're going to look like. We don't know how Isaiah and LeBron are going to. I mean, they should play well together, but we don't know. It's just tough to call it. I think one thing that is for certain, if Kevin Love is on the floor, guys can't lose Kevin Love, no matter who's guarding him. You can't lose Kevin Love, and that's a thing that typically happens. And sometimes it's for being lazy. Kevin Love is not doing anything that you don't expect. He's not crossing you up. He's going to find his spots, and he's going to stay there. He's going to trail the offense at times, and then he's going to sneak up and grab some rebounds on you. So, don't lose Kevin Love. Like, that's the key. Don't lose that guy, and let LeBron go bonkers. If he wants to score 60, 70 points, let him try. But he doesn't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta make him do what he doesn't want to do. And if you can do that, and if you can be a little physical with Kevin Love, when Kevin Love tries to sneak up for those offensive boards, you have a big behind there like Aron Baines, I think it will matter. You know what I'm saying? I think it will be a big deal. I think, even not to say that Yabusele is going to get a lot of minutes, but just the 2 or 3, 4 minutes that you can just throw him in there just to give a different look. You know what I'm saying? Just to make, to take some space away. Those types of things. And Brad Stevens will figure that stuff out. And he'll do something that we won't even fathom at the time. We'll go, oh wow, he really figured that out, So yeah, I don't know, but once again, I'm not gonna put too much on Aron Baines. I think it's just a collective effort from a bunch of guys that have to rise the occasion, in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think that you got some hungry guys that want to do that.
Yeah, Aron Baines is going to be a big part of a couple of different games this year, and again, definitely in the playoffs if they have to match up against somebody like Detroit or even somebody like Milwaukee, where they can take advantage of how small Milwaukee can be in terms of like overall girth in the paint. But with that, we got to take off for this episode of Celtics Roundtable. I want to thank you guys for listening here today. Today's show brought to you in part by DraftKings.com. Go to DraftKings.com. Use the promo code Celtics at first sign-up for a free entry into a $10,000 pool tonight for the NBA. Win some cash tonight thanks to us at CLNS. Do that. Also, go to action-heat.com/Celtics for all your rechargeable winter weather gear needs. Okay, go there and get some really great stuff and save a ton of money today. For Zaire, I'm Evan Valenti. We'll see you guys next time on Celtics Roundtable. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, what's up? Nice to see you. Good to talk with you. Do me a favor, hit that like button below. Hit that like button there, and then subscribe to CLNS Media. The 12,000 plus of you that do, you guys are the best people of all time. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable. Subscribe to the Boston Celtics newsfeed on iTunes and Stitcher. And make sure you check us out on our new website, clnsmedia.com. We'll see you guys next time on Celtics Roundtable, part of CLNS Media.